Welcome to the big bad gaming universe, otherwise known as Starfield, where you start as a miner working for these two dipshits, in which the supervisor Lynn seems to have every bloke around the place by the balls. So I grab my cutter and immediately try to kill her, which doesn't work. So I get to doing what she says and start mining the rocks. And whilst I'm doing it, some egghead shoots me in the back for some reason. So I turn around to give him the 1-2, but like ground to flying type, my moves don't affect him. But that doesn't stop me trying again. We then essentially get told we're cannon fodder and they can easily replace us, so they get us to go fetch this weird mystic object, which like the Gen 4 legendaries seem to affect the realms of time and space as we know it. The meth high was so good when we come back down to earth we completely forgot what we look like, so get to start again. Everyone used to tell me when I was a kid that I was cheeky. I would just reply, no, I'm just a space scoundrel, so obviously we went with that background. And realistically, as far as the traits go, I'm a badass who gets shit done, so they speak for themselves. If you're wondering why the name's Firefox, I can't pronounce that surname, it's because it's a reference to a certain anime, which if you know, you know, if you don't, get in the bin. Moving on, as soon as we leave the mining headquarters, a spaceship lands right in front of us. And this guy's entrance is like the 16th member of the Expendables walking down the ramp, so I rob his medical supplies.
Is that right, cowboy? Went on a trip, huh?
After he'd finished flirting me, he'd revealed he'd brought some pirates down with him, in which I made quick work of those, so he gave me his ship and an Apple Watch Series 5. You'll notice very quickly in this game, all that happens is the NPCs move their mouths and raise their eyebrows. And if you're expecting more from Todd Howard himself, then the blame is on you. The robot comes with me to babysit me along the way. And with that, we set off onto our voyage into the Black Sea, also known as space. Now, I forgot to record my first space battle here, but you can see me collecting the remnants, so you'll have to take my word for the fact I absolutely decimated them. And sticking true to the human race, as soon as I touch down in foreign territory, I kill every moving, living thing in sight. After wiping out those terrifying creatures, we move on to the pirate's base camp. You'll soon come to notice no one is quite the match for my chain-blinging, dick-swinging, gun-slinging, armed tactics, as I make quick work of this boss by pulling the wool over his eyes and hitting him with the old "I'm not going to kill you" tactic, and proceeding to put 4 barrels of fire explosion underneath his feet and blowing him to smithereens. Karma then proceeded to hit me harder than finding out the tooth fairy isn't real and it's just your parents sneaking in your room at night, as I got hit with a bug trying to use my robot companion as a hoarding wench. And as I hadn't saved the game, I had to then redo the last hour and a half of gameplay. Moving on, we use the Apple Watch Series 5 we were given prior to enter the not-so-secret hideout with a bright gold door, where we find a cult of demon worshippers. And me putting down the mysterious bit of metal that sent me higher than a kite seems to have finished their satanic ritual, as the object started floating for some reason. I then get a pat on the back, a spacesuit and a jetpack, and get told that I'm now one of them. I didn't have a choice, and to make things worse, this blonde bob woman is now following me, to witness me getting my feet wet, as she said. Anyway, I suppose it's nice not having to travel the infinite nothingness alone. So we head to Mars because someone's been bragging about using another piece of mysterious metal as a hood ornament. I hit the gnarliest bit of parkour on the way to the door, and I was extremely impressed with myself, so much so that I decided to leave it in the video for no reason other than I thought it was impressive. But now that I'm re-watching it, I can see that I just used the jetpack 4 times and landed on a pipe in between. Hindsight is 20/20, and I can see that it's actually not that impressive, but I felt like a badass in the moment, so I'm keeping it in. We then went to the bragger's local boozer, where the bartender, who wasn't meant to say anything, spilt his guts quicker than a rat during the Black Death, with very little to no persuasion at all. Anyway, our Sherlock-level detective work led us to find out that he has gone to Venus. Now, we got told to scan a satellite, and they recommended doing it stealthy because, you know, it's 3v1. But my pride said, fuck that, I'm taking them all on, I am a bad boy, without reasoning. This led me to getting humbled extremely quickly, and made me realise that I may have to listen to the advice of Mrs. Blonde Bob. So against my better judgment, I went back and opted for the more stealthy approach. All to find out where this hoodlum with the hood ornament is hiding. I just hit you with the rule of 3 and alliteration. My English grades are going through the roof. And we all know how Bethesda game goes. As soon as I touched ground, I became over-encumbered. But hey ho, what else are companions for, if not to fuel your hoarding addiction? So after no time at all, I unload everything I have inside of her. I then decided to try the third person mode, only to miss every single shot to bloom, and immediately had had enough of third person and decided it wasn't for me. I'm never going to use it again. Fear-mongering is a huge part of war. The All Blacks do the hacker, and I teabag my enemy through a window. Fighting through this base of spaces only to realise that the guy we're looking for had left the message taunting them all and has got himself kidnapped. After we pinpointed the location of his ship and start approaching, they suddenly open fire on us and we don't take any prisoners, so we absolutely decimated the cunt. But alas, 'twas not the hoodlum with the hood ornament in hiding that had opened fire on us. Oh no. It was people who had commandeered his ship. Anyway, quickly wrapping it up, I basically just defeated everyone, got the artifact, put it in the ritual, and it all started floating again. Now you may be wondering what my initial thoughts are. I think it's a Bethesda game through and through. Some may say Skyrim in space, others may say intergalactic Fallout. But all I know is that it is an amazing game, one that has received an enormous amount of hate on the internet by people who I'd assume had never played a Bethesda game before. And I don't know whether it's because they expected more from it, or because simply they're on PlayStation and just can't play it. Yes, there's limits to your exploration, and it's not quite got the same open world feel to it as No Man's Sky now has. But what it has got, No Man's Sky cannot compete with. I've only played 10 hours so far, and can already see how in-depth the story and character development is in this game.